Hi, welcome to Cliterally Speaking the podcast. I'm Michelle Doherty.
And I'm Emily Lane.
We are BFFs dedicated to bringing you conversations between girlfriends over a bottle of wine.
Oh, I am so excited about the wine part.
Oh, me too. So pull up a chair, grab your glass,
and let's get talking.
Hey, Emily. How are you today?
Hey, Michelle. I'm pretty much as good as it gets. I mean, I am here on vacation. I'm in Las Vegas. The weather is warm. I don't even know what the temperature is. It's nice and warm. 80 degrees. I'm in a pool that's warmer than 80 degrees. And I have some lovely wine and a very good friend with me. So I'm great.
Awesome.
How are you?
I mean, I think this is probably like the best way to experience the time of the month, like hot tub, pool, bubbles, friendship, great weather. Yeah, of course.
Who says you can't wear a white bikini on your time of the month?
Only Emily. But I was going to say thanks for for sticking with us and, having us still do the time of the month when you're on vacation. So,
I mean, it comes monthly regardless. And you know what? I'm so glad that, the time of the month is a part of my vacation. It's kicking it off.
Right. Yeah. I just want to let the viewers know that yes, Emily is in water. Yes, she is in a bathing suit. No, I am not going to match her. I'm not going to put my bathing suit on and get in the bathtub. I'm going to have my black jacket on, my black top, and sit in my black chair in Studio C. Just wanted to let our viewers know that, not to disappoint anybody. But
that you're not going to be Emily, diving in anytime soon. Yeah.
No. We want to keep our viewers and our listeners. They don't need to.
Well, I'm not so sure I'm going to keep them in this, but
you'll have a lot more success than I will on that side.
Oh.
But anyway, Emily, you're visiting a dear friend of yours.
I am, and I know that I've talked about her on the show multiple times. My good friend Julie, come on, swim on in, Joy. So Julie and I met. Oh my gosh, how many years ago now?
Oh my gosh.
Right?
20?
Yeah. A while ago,
Yeah, it's got to be 20.
A while ago.
Instant friends, and we've done a lot of traveling together through the years, and she's just absolutely, oh my gosh, one of my closest, dearest friends. We make a point to see each other every year, and it's obviously this last COVID year we didn't get a chance to see each other.
Right.
So anyway,
so it's been a year and a half.
We both got fully vaccinated. That time period's, kicked in. We're like, let's make this happen. So here I am, my first day here.
Perfect. Well,
yeah, I know.
I was going to say Julie's a really good friend. That she doesn't mind being on our time of the month show from the hot tub either.
Right. Well, Julie was, upon us talking about, launching the podcast, like pre-podcast days, PC, PPC, PV, whatever it is. I had put Julie on our list as somebody to have on our show because she's a fascinating woman, has lived, oh my gosh, some incredible stories, has overcome great obstacles through her life, and she's the most joyous person I've ever met. And so I just, she's always been on my mind, and I love that this just coincided that we could do this here today.
Yeah, perfect. Well, we'll have Julie on the episode when, an official episode.
Not in swimsuits. Yeah. Like actually in a studio.
No. When we get down. we get down to business, we'll be like all, serious and stuff like that when we're in the
Tell
studio
us about
for
your
the official
childhood.
episode.
Yeah.
Yes, you have only told us 4 of your traumas. We'd like to know about the other 4 traumas in your
Yes.
life.
How did that make you
We'll
feel?
wait till you stop. We'll wait till you stop crying. We'll wait. It's okay.
Okay.
Here, let's have more wine.
Yeah, that always helps.
Speaking of wine, Emily, what are you guys drinking over there in Las Vegas?
Oh my gosh. So I'm really excited about this wine. I've been eager to try this wine. And this is it's from the purveyor, Cameron Hughes, who's a curator of wine. And he kind of private labels wine that he finds from all around the world. He seeks out the best wine and then private labels it under his own name. But he really seeks out these boutique, high quality wineries. This is a rosé from the high Alps of France, and I'm not at all disappointed. It is, we're because we're drinking poolside, we're being responsible. We're drinking out of plastic glasses.
Sorry
I
about
gotta
that.
tell you, I mean, it is still the aromatics and the flavors are all coming through. Imagine what it would do in an official glass. It's fabulous. Lots of it smells and tastes like a French wine. It's got that minerality. It's got those pretty summer kind of fruits and really, really smooth on the palate. It's awesome. It's a delicious wine. This is from a 2018.
This is what you said?
And it's a year's 2018 on this one. It's delicious.
It is.
Right. And is this winemaker, is he a wine club only? Can you get him in the shops? I mean, tell us some more about him.
You can't get him in shops. He's online only, and he is he's a purveyor. So like he goes and seeks out wine he loves, and then makes partnerships and buys like X amount of wine from these kind of houses, and then he labels them, and he kind of through that process he's kind of like cutting out the middleman, so they're not going into a store. So he just sells them direct, so you're getting a really high quality wine for a much better price. And I have to tell you, I mean, this to me, I would have, I think that this wine I would have spent double on, you know what I mean? So
really?
I think it's probably, I don't know, in the $15 range. I would have had no problem spending much more on this. It's delicious.
Well, that sounds to get some more of his and try some more vintages. I apologize for our viewers. I am kind of look, my internet is acting a little funny here, so I apologize for my in and out sounding to everybody. But hopefully it's going to get itself sorted soon.
Yeah.
I am drinking a Cremant de Bourgogne. We've had this before. The Claude and Claude Montiat. It again is just as lovely and delightful as every other time we've had it. I opened it up about an hour before the show, and I was concerned that I would drink it all before the show started. So I slowed down a little bit, and I have only drank half of the bottle. So by the time the show is over, I will probably be underneath my desk, still fully clothed and not in water.
Okay. So my question is, if you've been, concerned about over drinking that wine, drinking it too fast, is it because it's been that kind of day, or is it because it's that delicious?
It's that delicious.
Okay. It's that kind of day. You need some self-care.
Yeah. Right. No, right. Exactly. No, my days have been okay. I mean, we just, thankfully, Emily, yesterday, got the AC. They finished putting in the house, and we've had AC, but I replaced the system, and it is lovely. It is so quiet. It is a nice temperature. It is cold. It is cool in my house. It doesn't stink in my house. Those are really good, well worth the thousands of dollars that I spent on it.
Good. Well, how long have you been limping along there?
Well, I think I definitely limped last summer and probably the 2 summers before. But the system that was replaced was 26 years old and no longer.
Okay, that served you well. Yeah.
It served, yeah. And so I figured I'd rather make the investment and get to appreciate the AC myself as opposed to putting the money in and for somebody to buy the house. Even though the real estate market is crazy in St. Louis, and I think it's crazy everywhere. Is it crazy in Vegas too?
Unbelievable. Just
So
incredible. Homes are, they're asking over assessments, and then there's bidding wars, and they're just, it's
selling
ridiculous.
In a day.
It's selling in one day.
Part of that's the draw from California, right?
Exactly. Because people are coming in from California because they figure to pay $1 million for a home in Las Vegas is a steal, because it would cost 2 or 3 in California. So it's kind of scary at the same time, because you don't want to see another housing bubble like we had in 2008.
Right.
But so we'll just see what happens.
I am concerned about that. I am a little concerned about got to pop. I mean,
right.
I have, even though I've tried to sell my house like twice before, but in this crazy time, I'm like, no, I'm not selling. No, I'm not going to sell now. No.
Yeah.
Because there's no place to go.
Yeah.
Right. You get a great deal on your house, but then where do you go?
My internet, I don't know. Right, I'd have to move in with you, Julie, and we're.
Hey, I've got 2 spare bedrooms.
You would not believe, in my bedroom. Oh my God, I'll share with you, and we'll share it later. But there are 2 paintings in my bedroom, and the first one has a Yorkie in it with a girl who's got these cute little pink shoes. And then the other one is this kind of an Audrey Hepburn in front of the Eiffel Tower, Paris picture, you know. Oh my God, it's just so perfect. It's very clearly my room.
Decorated especially for Emily, of course, yes. And the artist's name on the Yorkie picture, her name is Emily as well. So my daughter saw this.
Wow.
And she texted it to me, says, Mom, doesn't this remind you of Emily? And I said, oh my gosh. So I had to hunt it down, and yes.
Yeah. So it's great.
Perfect.
So it helps me feel closer to Iggy Pop when I'm you know, I'm on vacation.
Right. I'm sure it'll do him some good to have you go take care of yourself for a little bit, and then you know when you come back, he'll appreciate you even more. You'll appreciate him even more. All be good.
Absolutely. And you know what? Just because I'm away from work this week, Iggy Pup's actually going to be going to work for me. So he's still going to be holding down the fort.
All right. Way to go, Iggy.
Did you talk Denise into this? How is that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Denise, our producer, we're going to have some conversations offline about that.
Iggy Pup loves it.
That is
very excited to see her.
I know.
And so
I'm sure. It's just kind of funny that Iggy Pup's been when Emily's not in town.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to represent me at work, you know.
Wow, and what a wonderful representative.
Yeah, you know. I didn't do.
He'll be running around barking at people. Do your work.
He won't bark. I think with me gone, he won't bark. I think he barks to protect me, you know. But retrospectively, what I should have done is left all of the Iggy Pop purses so that when Denise would come and pick him up, you know, they could decide which travel vessel he would be conveyed in, I didn't even think to do that. What was I thinking?
Oh, well, Emily, you'll go on vacation again. You'll be able to test it the next
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So today's time of the month is all about self-care. And Emily is actually living and breathing self-care right now by taking vacation, being in the pool, having some wine, all of those things to refresh and re-energize your soul, right? But we wanted to talk
Yeah.
about self-care. We wanted to talk about like what does that mean to you? And we have some things, some areas we're going to discuss. There's like 8 areas of self-care, as you can tell. There's physical, psychological, emotional, professional. I'm reading it to you: social, environmental, spiritual, and then finally financial. And I had not really thought about all of those areas. I always like thought of self-care as just being like a physical and an
Me
emotional
time.
part,
Yeah. It's kind of
you
like
know,
the me
and
time
and
thing.
only limited to that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I think it is interesting to look at infusing your self perspective in all of those key important areas in life, and making sure that you're
Hmm.
taking care of yourself all along the way. And I think if you look at this last year, we all know what has been going on. It's been a difficult year, and it's been harder to be creative about how do we take care of the self. How do we, especially for people who are maybe more gregarious in nature like myself. I love my friends. I love the energy and ideas I get by being around my friends. And to me, that is a key way of self-care, is surrounding being by people who resonate in a positive way and can help me recharge. And so this has been one of those years where it's like, how do we take care of ourselves, and still grow, when we've lived a smaller space. So I think it's for me, this vacation has come at such a nice time. And I feel really hopeful and optimistic. And I know even a week from now, when I come back, I'm going to be like, hello, I have ideas. I have
Yeah.
energy. So, but I am interested to explore with you, Michelle and Julie, your thoughts on all of these other areas also, beyond the friends and alcohol and, hot tubs.
Pool,
Like everybody else
hot
that
tubs and
has gone
pools.
through this, in this last year. I mean, everybody's life just changed drastically.
Over, like, practically overnight.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
We sat in our home for months before, without seeing friends and things like that, until we finally started getting brave enough to venture out. And it was just such an odd time, but I think it makes now getting together even more fun, more meaningful. It's just
intentional, even. Like, I
Yes.
find myself, as I'm starting to reach out to people that I feel I can trust being around, that they're still careful, and beyond the trust factor, it's like, who do I want to spend my time with? I'm finding that intentionality to be really key.
Right. And you had all these different categories too that you brought up, and I guess I'd never even really thought about that either. It's kind of funny because my husband and I, we've both been retired now for a little over 5 years, and
Already.
both
That's crazy.
and both of us, I kind of got myself a part-time job online, just for something more to occupy my time, and my husband just got a job offer today for a part-time job. So
Wow.
it's just right. I mean,
Wow.
and
That's
not
that's
that retirement
awesome.
isn't wonderful, but I guess with the whole year off with COVID, it was just you do need something more. You
Other
need
stimulation.
Exactly, other stimulation. Perfectly put.
Well, and with COVID, we all did like contract and stay in our homes, and it was a scary time. and it was an emotional time, and the unknown was facing us. And so sometimes, like, things that we would have said before, like, I'm going to do this because I need a self-care. I'm thinking that some of our traditional self-care uh, ideas during the COVID, right? Going to get a pedicure, having a massage, spending the day at the spa with the girls, right? Things that you would have called self-care, you couldn't do. And then like throws you into like an uncomfortableness, because what was normal, we couldn't do anymore, which then makes you think or expand what your ideas of self-care are and what it really means. What does it really mean to you? And uh, traveling, I know that travel is a self-care uh, 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 prescription and remedy for myself, for sure. And when I was able to take my first trip of 3 or 4 weeks ago to see my dad in Tucson, it felt so lovely just to actually doing the activity. Yes. We are having a little bit of a delay, and I do apologize.
It's okay.
Must be a
It's
bit of
because you're in
weather
St. Louis
somewhere
and
in
we're
the
in
world.
Vegas. You know, we're hours
Probably.
apart.
Yeah.
That's the delay.
The hardest part for my husband and I past year was we always would go back to Wisconsin to visit our home city and state in August. And a dear friend of ours that we went to his bar, as a matter of fact, on our first date 40 years ago, he passed away unexpectedly. So we missed that whole summer with him that we would normally share, that we always went boating together.
Yeah,
that
was
was
your birthday.
Yes, my birthday boating day. And so that really struck us as being one of the most difficult things that we had to get through, is that we weren't there to experience the time with him like we normally would. And then when we finally did get to see him, around Christmas time, he was so ill that it was just awful. But so that was a tough thing for us. That was, again, talking emotionally, but that
missing out on those really important moments.
Exactly.
That.
Right.
Yeah. It is challenging. So, what were things that you did to kind of cope in that time? Thinking about looking at self-care, is this thinking beyond pedicures and massages, what are things that you did during that time to help you cope? And
initially, I think everyone was in this kind of state of shock. You're all of a sudden you're locked in your home, and I started digging out jigsaw puzzles, and that was kind of fun for a while, and then it got boring. But what we had fun doing was with our kids, with our friends, the friend we just lost. We just would send a surprise meal. Like send them a pizza, or
nice.
And
it's a great idea.
Yeah. So then the next thing you know, all of a sudden, it was being reciprocated. We would get like a little game in the mail or something from somebody else, and so it got a little bit more creative that way, and that was really fun. That helped lighten the mood, and
those wonderful little surprises.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a
really good idea.
That's a really good idea. I don't know why Emily didn't get a surprise bottle of wine in the mail.
Yes.
Just
shame on me. I should have thought of
it. It was probably on me. I probably should have sent the surprise bottle of wine. But instead, I sent myself here for a week.
And nothing better.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the physical ways you can self-care, because that's stuff that we are familiar with, right? Eat
Mhm.
good food. We've talked about that. We talked about going to the spa. As we say, like go for walks. And then on here it also says like get enough sleep. I mean, that is a huge aspect, and I never really considered that as part of your self-care, right? I just figured but not because I need sleep, because I'm actually making a concerted and committed effort to myself. When you think about self-care, right?
Yeah.
So
I've
I don't know,
always,
I
I
love
remember,
my sleep.
I always remember feeling guilty about, sleeping in but I love to sleep in. I love it. To me, it's one of those wonderful luxuries, and I feel so good afterwards. And it's only really been in the recent years that I have been like, I need to sleep in. I feel good about it. Like,
Right.
I know I'm going to feel better. And but wow, for the bulk of my life, I really felt guilty. Like, I should be up, I should be productive, I should be cleaning the house or going, like doing more work, or there's certainly something that needs to be done. And I think that all of those priorities that we have in our head of the things that we think we need to be doing to be productive, I think they can kind of challenge our needs for self-care and the things that our body's telling us, like sleep, get some sleep.
Exactly. I mean,
Right.
we just bought a new mattress, but I told my husband, I said, we need a new mattress. And he kept saying, no, it's fine. Finally, we bought it. And I also ordered 2 new pillows. And I bought some really nice ones. And
Love good pillows.
like 2 days later, he said, man, have I slept good the last 2 nights. I said,
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, just even simple things like that can just change your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I
love
know.
it.
And when you talk about like sleeping in and that luxury, I know that for me, I have raised 3 kids practically by myself as from the early age, and I remember thinking it was a luxury when they were finally old enough that they could pour their own milk. So I didn't have to worry about making breakfast for them, right? They could make their
Wow.
own cereal.
How old were they when they could do that?
And we're like, sports games. When they could pour their own milk, it was about between age 4 and 6, but they had older siblings that would help.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if Iggy Pup is ever going to be able to pour his own milk, Emily.
He would love to, I tell you. He would. I mean, he can open the pantry door, and he gets that far. And I'm telling you, I close it all the time.
Right.
Like, how do you open this thing? You can't reach the doorknob, but somehow
They find a way.
he gets it open.
Somehow he does it. Yeah. So I guess what I was trying to like say was, now that my kids are well old enough to take care of themselves, for days on end, my body just won't let me sleep in until 9 o'clock in the morning. It's a wake up at 6:30 a.m. And as we talked with Dr. Becky one time, she said you'll just keep waking up earlier as you get older. So my luxury is a nap in the afternoon. That's my luxury.
You do some self-care, and you do it in the morning because you can't sleep in. You're finding other methods. You're swimming.
I swim.
You also have a wonderful
Cleaning my
health
house.
routine. You have your spa in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That you
Yeah.
do some amazing ozone therapies and things like that, which are so incredibly good for your body.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
Because I'm awake and I might as well.
Yeah, do some good for your body. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me,
So,
this last year has been, I've talked about it a lot. My self-care has been walking a lot, and drinking bubbles on those walks. Not right away, you know.
Right.
A little further into the walk, and then little two-person, three-person dance parties late at night, which our producer knows something about, and that has been tremendously helpful, So always,
I know.
have a little dance party.
Never
Right.
hurts.
It's just interesting what we did to cope, last year.
And I hope we don't lose some
The
of
other
that.
thing,
Right.
No, we
some
have the
good had
best
to come out of this, right?
practices.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they talk about the second thing that we talked about as an aspect of self-care is care. And that's about like, learning new things, being creative, being mindful, reading books. It took me forever this year to read books, but I did. And then, write in your journal, or I like the idea of like a digital detox. I mean, when we talk about how we are connected to our phones, we can our computers are live streamed, our internet, or whatever it is. When we make a conscious effort to separate, to put it down, to be in the moment, we're practicing a version of self-care.
That's true. Unplugging. Think about like you said, digital detox. Like actually unplugging. It's so hard. Like I literally, as of technically 4:00 yesterday, was on vacation, and I was still working. And then I came back to work after, like, I got my hair done. I came back to work. Like like unplugging is really, really hard. And I of course realized I did respond to some emails and whatnot today. And I probably still will. But for me, like, that's important to me. Like, I would feel like I can't completely unplug and psychologically be okay with myself. But I have done some things to ensure that I'm exercising other parts of my brain. On that slide, Michelle, was creativity. One of the things that I packed for this vacation was a sketchbook. Oh my God, I have to tell you my story. Ooh. So get this. I was going through, the TSA security point, literally like on my way out the door today. I was like, you know what? I need to pack my sketchbook and my pencil bag, So I threw it in my bag last second. And I was like, going through the TSA pre-check. I have global entry. I'm like, all this stuff. Like, I should just skate right on through, right? And they kept running my bag over and over and over. Oh, no. And I was just like, you can just go through it. It's okay. I was not concerned. Like, go through it. Yes. And sure enough, in my pencil bag was like this little tiny X-Acto knife.
No, Emily.
Like I know. And the guy was like, "Oh no!"
Did they take it?
And it's tiny. It's the size of like smaller than my pinky. But he was like, "This is a killer knife." I was just like, "No, I can't believe that happened."
So did they confiscate your X-Acto?
Oh yeah. But anyways, so I did pack some creative things to bring to practice a little bit of that. And some of it got confiscated on the way here, but
I think you can probably find some X-Acto knives in Las Vegas if you really need it, right?
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking they got it at the Walmart if you need to, at a minimum at the Walmart. When I came back from Tucson, I had packed some wine and a wine glass, and with bubble wrap and everything, and I checked my bags. I'm not gonna deal with putting things up in the overhead compartment. And I had this thought and this feeling. I'm like, I bet you I'm going to have one of those little bookmarks from the TSA saying they looked in my bag. And sure enough, they did. And I think it's because I had the wine in bubble wrap, and I had the wine glass in bubble wrap, and they didn't understand what it was. And so they had. Now the last time, now it's just as girls talking, right? The last time that the TSA went through my bag was 10, 12 years ago. I don't remember. It was, and I had flown to another city to have a weekend with a good friend, and I had packed some enhancements,
accoutrements.
Some accoutrements for the weekend. And damn it, I had like a couple TSA bags in there because they were probably like, what the hell? I want to see this stuff.
Yeah. I definitely.
They didn't take any, thankfully. Has that happened to you, Emily?
Oh yeah, yeah. I at one point was in San Francisco, and I purchased this most amazing writing crop that has like a crystal handle, and I couldn't fit it in my luggage because it was too big, so I carried it on. And so running it through oh my God, there were a lot of they were calling over other TSA agents like, can we let this person through with this? And I'm like, what am I gonna do? Block people
into submission.
Yeah, right.
And they're all like, please, can I have some more? Can I have some more, please?
Yeah. This flight better be on time.
Yeah. So that's psychological self-care.
Yeah. I think we just took psychology down a different path, but
we did. The next one is emotional self-care. And this one has been, I think, one that I've really grown in this last year. Enhancing our emotional literacy. Navigating our emotions, our empathy for others, stress, all of these things. And so like some of the examples like we have on the screen is, saying no, or making time for reflecting on your feelings and your thoughts, and then like being aware of boundaries, your boundaries, and it's okay to set your boundaries. And then one of the suggestions would be like to write in a gratitude journal. And the practice self-compassion, right? I mean, emotional self-care is just as important as the physical or the psychological. It's been pretty powerful for me this last year, and I hope to continue to have that self-reflection and be okay in being uncomfortable in whatever my emotions are as I process them. Pre-COVID, I could have filled my life with busyness, not to actually sit with my emotions.
Sure. I understand that. I could definitely, I definitely understand that. And I remember one time hearing Mr. Rogers talk about how people turn on the radio in their car as a way to escape from their emotions and feelings. And he was advising not to, because this is a really important time to listen to yourself. And, it's important to not have all those distractions. And I think that is a value that came from this last year, is that we didn't have all of those distractions. Wow. And I remember kind of being like, that's just ridiculous, Mr. Rogers, because I love my music, it energizes me. Yep. Yeah. But wow, he's right. I think that having time for your thoughts and feelings and Michelle, when you say saying no, well, that is a new skill I'm learning. It is not easy, but powerful. And absolutely, it's a form of taking care of yourself.
Emily and I were talking just this afternoon. What my husband and I did, we shut off the news. We just stopped watching because it was just every night you went to, or you were so angry and worked up after seeing this story, that story, and everything all was so negative. So I have found myself, I was saying, posting on Facebook or something like that. Just really, if I see something really uplifting, a beautiful story where, somebody's helping someone else, and I've been posting that kind of thing. Just completely staying away from all the negative. So that and my husband said, he goes, I just feel like I'm a much more happy person. Yeah. And we both feel that way. So just turning off all that negativity.
Yeah.
Choosing I what you're going to consume, right? Choosing what you're going to consume. Like I in the last year, I've been, the movies I watch, the shows I watch, all that stuff. I've really sought out stuff that are positive because it just felt like, we're around a lot of negatives. So
right.
Yeah, making sure to bring the right stuff in.
Well, I have found that my anxiety level has drastically dropped in the last several months since the change in administrations, and I feel like I don't have to actually watch the news all the time to find out if we're going to perish tomorrow. I feel like there's a little sense of calm and peace, and I appreciate that. But I for 4 years though, prior to that, it was anxiety inducing and producing, and not actually realizing how much it was until it's gone. And so that's nice. And I think that choosing to be to seek out information that you want, but you don't have to death if you don't hear something, if you don't catch the news today. It's not life or death, right? Those kinds of things.
Well,
and I think it's actually translating a little bit, the fact that I don't have as many bags under my eyes. I mean, I still got a little puffiness, a little bags, but they're getting better. And I obviously would say that that's because I'm practicing self-care. One of the next categories that they had was professional self-care. And this hit me in the head, right? Wow, you're right. Especially women. I mean, we don't think about ourselves in this capacity, right? Where we need to share our strengths and gifts, have clear briefs. How many of us have been given jobs, but we're so good at it that they just keep piling on responsibilities, or piling on somebody else's is having issues. So you just sort of take it on, and to actually make a list of what it is that you want to accomplish and you want to have in your professional life. I love the suggestion here. Take your full lunch break. That's like telling Emily to go on vacation, right?
Yeah.
How
right. Don't have lunch at your desk.
Right? And we have to figure out and maybe be comfortable with the idea that the company will survive if I'm on vacation. The company will survive if I go to lunch. Right. But at the same time, we have to be comfortable in our own value and in our own self, and saying that I don't need to prove my worth to this company 24 hours, 7 days a week. Right? If you're afraid to not be available 24/7 because maybe they'll choose somebody else. Or what if you're afraid that, oh, I took my full lunch today and they're going to choose somebody else? I mean, and maybe these are are these not something that has happened because of COVID, or were those behaviors that were before COVID? and
I think it's
now it's a whole new
generational.
world.
I think it's generational, really.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
thinking about, like, you know, so millennial or not the Gen Z, or no, wait, what are we? We're X. Lord.
We're Generation
I'm a
X.
myself,
Yeah.
so.
I am on vacation. My brain is gone.
Hey, boomer.
You know, we definitely, so X, you know, we're kind of that bridge between boomers and the millennials. And, you know, in the boomer generation, it was very much like these, you know, you go to work at this job for your career. These are the hours that you work. If you're not at your desk on these hours, like, there were expectations that were set upon how valuable you were as to well you fit into that system. And then technology came into play, and we can be efficient in more than one way by, you know, beyond our just sitting at our desk. And now you've got millennials and even younger generations coming into the workplace now who have another idea about what they want out of their work experience. They want to love their work, and I don't think that's wrong, you know. And so in there's a way to bridge those ideas. And I think that, you know, I've been caught kind of in the middle of hearing growing up, like in my career, that knowing that, okay, I had to put in all these hours and all this stuff to do a good job, to now, no, you need to be healthy and take care of yourself so that you can be strong. And this younger generation that's coming in and infusing that concept. I think we're going to get to a really good place there. I think it's very generational, this shift that's happening of, you know, it's no longer eat at your desk, and it's take time for yourself so you can be fresh and really, really thrive in your job. And that has been something I've seen really come to life in the last handful of years.
Yeah.
Well,
I think what'd be interesting is for...
Sorry.
Go ahead, Julie. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, with COVID, it also became just the norm to work from home.
Right.
And so, I mean, I've been retired, so I'm very blessed, and I love retirement. But, you know,
you're still working from home.
I'm still working from home, right? But that's also, it's a double-edged sword, though, because as many, you know, as people discovered that it was still possible to get the job done from the comfort of their own living room or whatever, you're losing that human contact. And I think that's the biggest drawback, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Well, and you're also kind of blurring the lines between home and work, right? So you might have been better at, like, I'm going to leave that at the office, and when I get home, I'm focusing just on my needs at home, like children, my spouse, whatever it is. When we started working from home, you're like, everybody's pulling, and the boundaries aren't clear, which the self-care says, you know, have your boundaries. You know, and again, it's not something that you're tomorrow, I'm going to wake up and go, got my boundaries all set. There's no one's ever going to cross them. You know, they're rigid, because I think for women especially, it's something that you have to work at. You know, continually massage it.
Oh, right. Oh, always.
You know.
Sure.
What I didn't hear you. What did you say, Emily?
I said, and there needs to be a little fluidity.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. For sure. It's I think what would be interesting, though, that how our generation, the Gen Xers, if we can, and I believe we can, I believe that we have been through a lot as a generation, and you know, leading edge of, you know, latchkey kids, all of the kind of stuff of our generation, but like shedding the traditional ideas of work the millennials and the Gen Zs are bringing in. I think that will be interesting to see how our generation does as we continue to get older, as we approach retirement age, even though that's, you know, 10, 15, 20 years from
some of us.
fruition for some of us. for someone else.
For her.
No, she says she's a boomer, so she's already retired.
Living the life.
But living the life. Will just never not work either, too. So I think the best part we can do is have clear lines and practice professional self-care. Have that be part of your self-care routine. And it hasn't always been that way. The next one is social self-care. Oh, sorry, spiritual self-care. My bad.
Yeah.
Spiritual self-care, which, isn't necessarily something that people talk about all the time.
That's true.
Spiritual self-care is, it's about the beliefs and values that are important to you and that guide your life, and so maybe you are somebody that goes to church a lot. Maybe you meditate. Maybe you, again, write your thoughts in a journal. Go on a retreat. I mean, some people, going on a retreat with others that are, like-minded and maybe in their religion, or maybe going on a retreat means camping in nature, right? It could also, it could also include volunteering at a local organization. I'm hearing some weird audio.
Yeah, it's really strange. Yeah, there we go. Okay, it's better now. This is what was on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it sounds like
it's from your side. Oh my. Okay.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Apologies.
Well. So let me chime in for a second and see if maybe something recalibrates. You talking about spiritual self-care. A guest that we've had on our show, Karen and Jones, and a wonderful artist who actually we're going to see this weekend because she's going to be coming through Vegas. She's going through transition right now in her life, and it was so amazing talking to her the other day because she's like, whenever I'm confused or sad or, unsure, I meditate. And, she's like, I'm meditating 3 to 5 times a day.
So I think what has happened is we just lost Emily, and I know she's going to reconnect in to the broadcast, and we were talking a little bit about self-care and spiritual self-care, and Emily was talking about her friend, our friend Karen, who has really worked on manifesting and meditating those things that are important to her. And when you're reflecting upon self-care and your spiritual side, your spiritual side does not have to match what your neighbor does, what your best friend does. I truly believe that however you develop your spiritualness, if you believe in a God, if you believe that there is no God, if you believe in a specific prescribed religion, or maybe you envelop them all, whatever it is that you believe that matters, that you carry, and that help you live a productive, fulfilling life, that should be what your goal is. I think when we spend time trying to match what others are, then we fall short. So that is what spiritual self-care is about. Now, the next one, and we're going to try to get through these a little quickly while we wait for Emily to get back on, is environmental self-care. Yes, your environment means something. How you organize your home. I know I feel better when I have when the clutter is not all on top of everything. Tell me that you don't feel good when your clothes are clean and it smells good. And they also suggest that if you have a car or other form of transportation, that you take good care of it. So how do you practice self-care in your environment? You declutter. You recycle, right? You like, that makes you feel better. You donate things to charity. And guys, I have to donate all the time. I've got so much stuff, and I'm not saying I have so much stuff as a bragging right at all. It is more along the lines of, after living in one location for 23 years, I have accumulated and I don't need it all. Uh, Cleaning up after your meal, putting there, Emily's back. Well, she was back. Putting those dishes back into the dishwasher, wiping down the countertop. I like that. Times I've had meals for friends, and I've had them over, and we drink things like that. And what I end up doing is I turn on my Spotify loud, and I finish the bottles of wine, and I clean up my kitchen. It's a painless way to go. And in the morning, I might have a headache, but my kitchen is all clean and the dishes are put away. I have found that is a very effective way to practice environmental self-care. Welcome back, Emily and Julie. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened, but I really am glad you guys persevered and came back to the time of the month show.
Sorry, and I'm having trouble figuring out how to get myself in here, so I'll try to squeeze. We're gonna squeeze in and cuddle.
So you guys completely got pruned up while you were in the water. You're waterlogged, which is probably our audio issue, and it dragged the Wi-Fi down and cut you guys off, right?
We just thought it's time to relocate. Clearly, we got the phone went black, and it was like, holy smokes, let's go inside. Here we are. Yeah.
You must have gotten to the limit of Julie's Wi-Fi meter in her subdivision. She's gonna get like a bill from the HOA.
Yeah.
So we went through spiritual and environmental self-care, and one of the things environmental was like decluttering and having like taking care of your space, and I like the other one, like reinventing an unused space in your house. And I don't think Emily will be upset if I tell the whole world this, but Emily reinvented a bedroom into a closet in her home.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
It's a huge closet. And then on top of that, she used that closet to broadcast or to record our podcast episodes during the COVID times when we were not in the studio.
Yes, it was Studio 2 closet. Yeah.
Studio E. And then I think is the final one before we close, is it on the financial self-care? I think that might be social self-care. I'm sorry, guys.
There's a lot of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are eight. And social self-care, and I think Emily and I practice this, and I would guess that Julie practices as well. But having a supportive group of friends, a network of trusted relationships can be yourself with, and that as your community. And don't you agree, Emily, that during the COVID times, during our social contractions, you really had to build, like, if you didn't already have a network of people that you trusted to be with during the COVID times, you found out how important it was.
Right. Oh, of course.
And
I think we've become much more intentional through this, and it's editing, who is it that's going to support my happiness, my growth. How can I help them? How can we help me? Like, it's a much more, I'm looking for that healthy balance in relationships, not where it's a very one-sided, and so I completely agree. Oh, light. There's light. We're good. We're shifting it up all over the place.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
Okay. It's getting dark in here.
One of the other things on the social self-care that is really important, I think, for us to drive home is, ask for help when you need it. Don't spend time with people who don't make you feel good about yourself. All right?
Right.
Like if there's one thing that you take from today's episode is, you are important. Be with people who make you feel important. You don't want to spend our limited time we have here on the earth with people who make you feel like shit about yourself.
Amen.
Totally agree. Yes. Oh my God.
And sometimes it's hard to set that boundary, but once you do, you will be pretty pleased and surprised at how much better you feel about yourself.
We've talked about a lot of different forms of self-care, and I think that thing that you just said needs to be fed through every single one of those. If you think about it, don't spend your career at a job working with people who aren't aligned with who you are and who you want to be,
or don't appreciate you, right? Or don't appreciate you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that is a marker that can flow through every single category we've talked about today.
Good point.
And giving yourselves permission to believe that.
Yeah.
We women sometimes feel that we don't deserve that, and that we just suffer through in an unhappy relationship and an unfulfilling job in a home we don't like, right? And in our environment. So like, it's okay. Set those boundaries. Think of yourself. Let's like wrap it up on the financial self-care. It's the last one. Who would have thought, right? Pay your bills, watch your money coming in, know where they're supposed to go, save your money wisely. This is definitely it's hard, and
it can be hard if you don't have it,
form of self-care. It's hard if you have it sometimes, because you're like, oh, I've got more coming in, it doesn't matter because I can take care of this and that. It's one of these it's, if you're not intentional, money will go away, right? If sometimes you think, oh, if I just have more money, but
I'd sure like to try that. I mean, I'm down for giving that a go.
So I remember on that train of thought, Emily, I remember one time hearing about this a class action attorney. She had won, or her portion that she had gotten from this class action was like $1.5 million. She was like 27 years old. She'd worked on this thing, and the $1.5 million was gone in 18 months. She spent it all. And I sat back and I thought to myself, I would like the chance.
Yeah.
I think I could do better. If I could just have $1.5 million, I think I could do better. I could make it last longer than 18 months.
Totally.
It might be 19 months, but it would be longer.
It's a low benchmark. I think had she listened to today's episode, she might have had some tools to be happier and therefore preserve her money longer.
She would have found good wines within a good price point that she could have enjoyed. All of those things she could have learned about: taking care of herself, vacations, separating herself from work, taking her lunch break, things like that. But unfortunately, Emily,
wisely.
Finding a cheap flight.
Yeah, we just didn't have our. We didn't have
a place to stay.
We didn't have our podcast. Yeah, back then. So I'm not going to feel responsible for the fact that she spent all of her money in 18 months. But hopefully she learned from that lesson. And Emily, it's 9:04 here in St. Louis. We have
oh my God,
past our time of the month.
I still would like our time.
We float over. Yeah, we haven't overflowed, but we floated. But I do want to remind our listeners that Emily and I are coming up on our 100th episode, and we would love for you guys to send us an email, a voicemail, a phone call, a video message, anything about anything you love about the podcast to be included in our broadcast for our 100th episode. So want to remind everybody about that. The other thing that I want to make sure everyone is aware is that our next time of the month is scheduled for the last Wednesday of the month. But the next last Wednesday is May 26th, and that is when William graduates high school. And so we are going to have to shift our day. We're not going to have it on May 26th. Might be May 27th. Probably be better than May 25th, but we will let you know. But on May 26th at this time, I will be going through my second or third box of tissues and Kleenex. I'll probably have like people will wonder, they'll be like, was that a snail that just walked by? No, that was his mom with all of this snot like in her trail. I'm putting it out there. So all of our friends and our
we'll be there with
and our
wine
viewers,
to support you, Michelle.
my crutches are made of wine bottles. Emotional crutches. My physical crutches, all of those things. But it was so lovely to talk to you, Julie. I'm jealous of she's awesome. Jealous of the vacay that Emily's got going on right now. But we'll definitely have a more serious conversation in the studio in the future.
In real clothes.
Clothes will be a start. More wine, it'll be good. But we appreciate you letting us have this time of the month show and letting Emily hook in while she's been gone out there. And we appreciate all of our viewers, we appreciate all of our listeners, and appreciate Denise for keeping us going in all of our technical audio, Wi-Fi, internet issues today. We really appreciate all of that. So have a good rest of your vacation, Denise. Emily.
Hey, Denise is working with Iggy Pop. It's me.
And Emily's vacation has just started. So
it just started. So cheers, you guys, and we'll see you next month. Ciao.
Bye.